Nobody at the Grand Meridian Hotel knew who he really was. Not the managers pacing the lobby in their suits, not the guests flashing gold cards at the front desk, and definitely not the janitor scrubbing marble floors in silence. He showed up one Tuesday morning wearing a baggy uniform that smelled like bleach, a dented cleaning cart rattling in front of him, and a cap pulled low over his face. To everyone else, he was just another invisible worker. But behind that stained apron stood the heir to the Meridian Empire, a hotel chain worth billions. His name was Ethan Blake, though on paper he signed in as Eli. And in his mind, this was going to be fun. Ethan thought he'd laugh at the staff expose their flaws, maybe prove to his father that employees exaggerated how tough the job was. He carried that smugness like a second skin. But everything changed the moment he crossed paths with a woman named Loretta Daniels, a middle-aged black janitor whose weathered hands and steel eyes carried more authority than any corporate title. To the world, she was just another cleaner. To Ethan, she became the mirror that shattered every inch of his pride. It started in the locker room. The air reeked of sweat and chemicals. Workers sat quietly changing out of worn shoes, microwaving noodles in a beat-up machine older than Ethan himself. He was already wrinkling his nose when she walked in. Shoulders square, steps sharp, a name tag that read Mrs. Daniels. She glanced at him like she could see right through the act. First day, she asked, voice calm, but with a weight that silenced the room. "Yeah," he muttered, trying to sound casual. "You're too clean," she said, grabbing a mop without breaking stride. "That won't last." Who does she think she is? He thought, irritated. He had no idea that this woman was about to dismantle him, piece by piece. They were assigned the 8th floor corridors. Within minutes, Ethan was struggling too much detergent, clumsy strokes, slow as a snail. Loretta noticed. She walked over, picked up the bottle he'd sprayed directly on the carpet, and shook her head. "This rug costs more than your monthly paycheck. You want to ruin it. Try that at your house." The sting burned worse than the bleach in his eyes. Nobody had ever talked to him like that. Not professors, not business partners, not even his father. By the end of the shift, his back screamed, his hands were raw, and he collapsed in the supply closet, reeking of ammonia. Loretta walked in, tossed him a bottle of water, and said, "Welcome to the real world, kid," then left him sitting there, stunned. The next morning, his body ached in places he didn't know existed, but pride wouldn't let him quit. He showed up early, hoping to impress. Loretta was already there, sweeping the sidewalk like she owned the block earbuds and not even sparing him a glance. Later that day, he made his first dangerous mistake, mixing bleach with ammonia in a restroom. Fumes filled the space, choking him. Loretta burst in, yanked him out, and barked at others to open every window. He could have died right there. Instead, he sat trembling by a water fountain as she shoved a laminated booklet into his hands. "Read it, or don't. But if you keep guessing, you won't last a week." That night, in his cheap Airbnb, Ethan read the homemade safety guide cover to cover. Something in him cracked. He wasn't laughing anymore. Days blurred into shifts. He watched Loretta move like a commander without rank, efficient, firm, never wasting words. He asked her once, frustrated, "Why do you talk like you're above everyone else?" She turned, eyes steady. "I don't act above anyone. I just refuse to act beneath them." That line lodged in his chest. Still, the more he listened, the more he realized she carried weight far heavier than mops and buckets. One afternoon, he overheard her whisper to another janitor about her grandson, the boy she was raising alone after losing her son to addiction. "He's smart," she said softly. "Smarter than I ever was. But the system wasn't built for kids like him. So I keep working, keep pushing." Her voice cracked just for a second before she straightened again. Ethan's stomach twisted. He had never considered what these people carried outside the job. The breaking point came on a Monday morning when corporate inspectors stormed in unannounced. Panic rippled through the hotel. Managers froze, voices trembling. Loretta didn't flinch. She took control, assigning crews like a general at war, directing Ethan to the banquet hall, rallying exhausted workers with calm precision. 2 hours of furious scrubbing later, the place gleamed. When an inspector asked if she was a supervisor, she answered, "No, sir. I'm just the one holding this place together when the real ones forget how." Ethan had to bite his tongue to stop the pride swelling inside him. That night, he couldn't hold the secret anymore. He found her in the closet, nervously pulling off his gloves. "I lied," he confessed. "My name isn't Eli. It's Ethan Blake. My father owns this chain." She froze, then raised an eyebrow. "And what was this? Some game?" His throat tightened. "I came here to prove anyone could do this job. I thought people were lazy, but I was wrong about everything. About this work. About you." His voice cracked. "You broke me down. In the best way." Loretta studied him for a long moment before saying, "You came thinking the problem was down here, but it's up there. Don't forget that." Then she walked away, leaving him in silence heavier than any lecture. Word spread quickly. Everyone learned who he was. But instead of anger, whispers of respect followed because Ethan had admitted the truth, and because he credited Loretta for saving not just the inspection, but him. Corporate summoned her into the executive office, offering a shiny title and a cushy desk job. She shook her head. "I lead from the floor, not above it. You want me to teach, fine, but not as your token. On my terms." And just like that, she redefined what power looked like. Over the following weeks, change rippled through the chain. New break rooms, fairer shifts, better equipment. Employees finally had a voice. Loretta became the North Star training sessions built not on PowerPoint slides, but on lessons like, if you want to lead, learn to listen. Learn to clean up messes without making more. Workers started smiling more. Jokes filled the break room again. Ethan had never seen dignity take root like that. He wanted to give back, so one morning he slid an envelope into her locker, a scholarship package for her grandson. Books, uniforms, transportation, everything covered. She stared at him, eyes sharp. "I don't take handouts. This isn't a handout," he said quietly. "It's an investment in him, in what you've built." Her fingers trembled, but she accepted. "Then you'd better make sure this world's ready for a kid like him. Because if he's anything like me," she smirked, "he'll change everything." The months rolled by. Ethan returned to his role as the CEO's son, but he wasn't the same man. He no longer hid in boardrooms. He walked the halls, rode elevators with dishwashers, asked night staff what they needed, and listened. Other hotels copied the model. Managers straightened when Loretta walked by because she didn't demand respect. She was respect. One December morning, Ethan organized something simple. No photographers, no press. Just coffee donuts and a hand-painted banner in the event hall that read, "Without you, there is no luxury." Workers shuffled in cooks' laundry crews. Janitors, front desk clerks looking stunned. Loretta arrived last, same headscarf, same steel in her spine. Ethan handed her a letter. In it, he wrote, "You didn't just teach me how to clean floors. You taught me how to stand on them." She laughed through tears, shaking her head. "Boy, I should knock you upside the head for making me cry in front of all these people." But she kept the letter, because for the first time in a long time, somebody truly saw her. Ethan never forgot what she told him one night while polishing brass railings. The hands that clean the floor are the same hands that hold the ceiling up. The difference is whether anyone bothers to notice.
Can't bear.
And that's the question I'll leave with you. How many Lorettas have we ignored? How many people carry the weight of the world without ever being recognized? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Was Ethan's undercover stunt justified, or just another example of privilege at play? And more importantly, who are the invisible people in your life that deserve to be seen?